Now, Gail Trotter from the Independent Women's Forum joins us on the program. Gail, good evening to you. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks so much for having me on.
Absolutely. Hope you had a Merry Christmas.
We did. We have 6 children, so Christmas is the best day of the year for us.
Wow. 6 kids. How long does it take? It still takes like less than an hour, doesn't it, to open all
Of
the
course,
presents?
because they're all ripping through everything. We don't make them do one present at a time, but it's just on your mark, get set, go, and everything's just papers and ribbons and so much fun.
That's great. Now, listen, you had a piece that came out before Christmas. I thought it was really interesting because we were just playing this clip from Fox News on, I believe it was Saturday morning, Fox and Friends, and the anchor's talking about, this idea. A lot of people were criticizing it on both sides. People were criticizing this idea for armed security. You, as a mother of 6, Gail, weren't criticizing the idea.
That's right. I thought it was an excellent idea because armed security guards suggested by Wayne LaPierre actually increase safety. That's why politicians, celebrities, banks, airports, and rock concerts all used armed security because they know that it works.
All right, I'm going to play. We're going to role play, Gail. I never get to be the attack dog media. So I'm going to play the role of, I don't know, your average cable television anchor for a minute. Gail, that's preposterous. Are you out of your mind, Gail? Do you know how much this would cost, Gail? Do you want you? I thought you were a fiscal conservative, Gail Trotter. You want us to go bankrupt putting police in these schools?
Well, LaPierre suggested that we could rely on volunteers. And I was looking on the internet this afternoon, and there's a town in Colorado that has a sheriff's posse of 20 active volunteers who go and patrol the schools in their neighborhood when they have sporting events, when school is in session. So it doesn't cost the locality anything. It's not costing the federal government anything. When you think about the people who are the heroes in our society, think of volunteer firefighters. They're not getting paid for their work, and they have to be highly trained. Nobody can just walk off the street and be a volunteer firefighter. So it would be the same with armed security in the schools. If we're concerned about it costing anything, then we could recruit volunteers, retired military, retired police officers. Don't our children deserve that?
I'm still role-playing here, Gail. You're just an awful person. Oh, you're a horrible human being, Gail Trotter. I really, you're right, and I don't. I'm so sorry. Thank you for putting up with that.
I'm used to it. I get it all the time. I live in D.C.
But listen, and sadly, that is sort of the tone that this is taking. What you say is absolutely right. We in my local area, we actually have a volunteer fire department. And I had the idea a couple of years ago that I wanted to volunteer until my wife looked at me and said, I don't want to rely on you at the moment for, like you're kind of out of shape. You kind of, and I'll be honest with you, that was like one of the reasons that I got up off the couch and started, getting a little more active because I was like, ooh, I'm not able to do things like that.
Yes.
And there's something, look, there's something beneficial from being able to volunteer. And obviously there's something beneficial, as you say, to being able to protect our children. What Wayne LaPierre mentioned, using a retired military, using retired law enforcement. We talked with a woman on Friday night, Karen Bartut. She's with a program called the Women's Tactical Association. She's a law enforcement officer in Illinois. And I asked her, I said, would you be willing to donate your time to go stand watch? And she said, yeah, and I know a lot of other cops who would too.
That's right, because they are the heroes of our community, and they are willing to go out there and lay their lives on the line for us, adults. How much more so would they be willing to do for our 5- and 6-year-old children? We all have children in our lives, whether they're nieces, nephews, siblings, or our own children, and we need to do everything. It's like after 9/11. No one said we should totally get rid of airport security because it didn't work to prevent 9/11. Instead, we all worked together to make airport security more effective. And it's the same with what's happened now. We're looking at a lot of different things. You can't point at one thing and say that causes these tragedies. It's many causes that link together to come up with these horrible situations. And David Gregory on Sunday was just interrogating LaPierre and saying, you're saying that armed security guards are the one thing that will prevent this from happening. And that wasn't really what he was saying, but he was trying to trap him into saying that.
Mm-hmm.
And the response to him could have been, well, David, you and your ilk are saying the one thing that will prevent these tragedies is gun control and contravention of our Second Amendment rights.
Yeah, and and here's the thing. I'll be honest with you. And I say this not even as a gun owner. I just say this as a parent who's thought about this. Look, we had the semi-auto ban, and we had Columbine right in the middle of that.
Right.
So I've heard people say, well, there was an armed guard at Columbine, and right, there was a gun ban in place when Columbine happened too. You've got people who are the very people who are proposing these new gun control laws are saying this won't make a difference. This won't stop tragedies like what happened in Newtown, but we've got to start somewhere. We've got to make progress. We've got to do quote unquote something. And no, as a parent, no, that's nonsense. Then it becomes just another political football. And we've been told this is about our kids, and if it's about our kids, then damn it, it's not just another political issue.
That's right. And don't do something just to have the appearance of acting. Do something that's effective.
Exactly.
To logic, it just makes sense. If you have somebody who can protect the children 1 minute away, a few steps away, no matter what, it's going to slow it down. It's going to make the casualties less. It just to argue against that defies logic.
Listen, I'm right there with you, Gail. And I got to tell you, I think despite the media hysteria to the contrary, I think the American people are right there with you too. I'm curious, what has the reaction been to your column now that it's been up on Fox News for a few days?
Well, it's been circulated to some towns near Newtown, and I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from the communities around Newtown. And then I've also had friends from high school who have had very strong debates with me on Facebook about this. But I will tell you, each of the people who commented on this article I wrote on Facebook, they don't have children. So when they see these things, yes, it tears at their heart, but they don't have that fundamental, like, mother bear protection of my children that I have when I see these things happen. And so I don't want the politicians to just do something. I want something done that's effective, that's going to protect all of our children.
Yeah, absolutely, Gail. I think you speak for a lot of moms out there, and you know what? I bet some dads too. I really appreciate you coming on the program tonight. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. Great to talk with you.